Hi, hello, sports fans. How are you this awesome Friday? So today's talk is something it's very close to me, but I suppose it's important for you guys to also know why I'm here and why I invested in fitness and conditioning knowledge. So here goes. What was my story and why I found this to be so important for me? It was a thing that was close to my heart, namely my dog. So it started off, let me get all my stuff together so I can give you the story proper. It started off about 2 to 3 years ago. So my dog had some puppies. They awesome litter because she was an awesome mom. And of course we do IGP. So my big passion is IGP and impact sports. I love it. I love what the dogs do. And my dog, I dare say, was really good at what she done. She was awesome. So she had puppies. And then after almost a year of had puppies, weaned them, they eventually left and we started doing training slowly. She wasn't too bad and we did normal everyday IGP training. It wasn't a big issue for her at all. And then the following year, it was nationals was coming up and she was getting on and we thought, oh, well, let's enter into nationals. It'll be probably her last chance to do much and then we can retire her from there. So of course, the normal training was fine and we started to push her training for extra finer details, more power, extra exercises, and just to get her really polished. She was going all right, but the performance, it sort of stayed the same, and then it started to decline. It was as if she was getting a little bit weaker all the time. And then she did something she never, ever has done in her entire training career. And she can be naughty and she can be a little bit of a miss. But what she did is she refused a command. She just point blank refused. And she'd never done this before. And of course, the people that are training with me, they also know her. And they said like, oh, this is strange. Maybe she's being a bit lazy. Maybe we can push her. But I wasn't too sure because I had seen that she hadn't improved after all the work we had put in. So I thought, oh, well, was she tired on the day because we've been working too hard? Was she lazy? I doubted the lazy bit. But I wasn't too sure what was going on. So let's just be safe. We took her to see the vet. The vet inspected her and she was fine. There was nothing wrong with her. And I said, just please check again because it's not her normal behavior. And she seems strong, but she's not as strong as what she should be. And so they brought in a specialist vet and they took more x-rays and more work. And this guy found that there was a small muscle strain, ever so slight. And this vet said, you're going to have to rest her, Angela. That's all that I can say. No work for a minimum of 6 weeks. Wow. The nationals was in 4 weeks. So that means... So the injury wasn't that bad, but it did affect her power. And people in my club, I mean, they're not being terrible or anything, but they said, why don't we just push through? It's not a major problem. We can just give her some anti-inflammatories and then we can still do it. And then afterwards we can sort her out. And I thought, oh, my dog will do it for me, but I can't put her through that. That would be terrible. And then what's worse is say now something happens, she won't be giving her best performance on a very important competition. And if anything happens, I would be sitting with a dog with a painful injury for the rest of her life. And that's not the way a dog's life should be. A dog's life, whether in competition or retired, should be one that is a joy to live. So I took the big decision of, yes, fine, we will pass on this big competition. But that's not the worst of it. That's not the issue. What really paralyzed me is after the 6 weeks. Her strength improved, etc. But there was nothing wrong with her. She was functionally perfectly sound. Everything was, she was given the okay, there was nothing wrong with her, but nobody at the time had specialist sports knowledge. And although my dog was fit to train normally and to live a normal life, she was not fit to compete as far as I could see. And I didn't know what to do to get her there. So I knew she had a weak area and I didn't know how to make it strong. And I didn't know how strong it was. And this was the big thing. So now I was just stuck. Yes, she can do normal training, but I can't go any further. And so what I did was just back off completely. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And I was literally paralyzed with fear from training my dog in something that we both enjoy. It was the worst experience ever. So what could I do? Not much. So we missed the nationals. I knew she had an injury and no weakness. I didn't know what to prepare for training. I didn't know how to restart her training or conditioning her body for training. And I was just stuck. So where would I start training again with her? How do I assess her and see if she's going right? What must I look for to see if she's not going to be all right? How do I take those precautions? And what happens if it happens again? And so she starts to tear that same muscle again. She's just going to be full of scar tissue then all along that side. And knowing now, loads of scar tissue just makes a dog even worse weak. So, okay, maybe could I have gone to the vet? No, because she's fine. She's functionally fine. Did I need to go to a rehab vet? No, there was nothing to really rehab her. There was no rehabilitation necessary. She was functionally fine. She lived a good life. She could jump up and down my bed. She could jump in and out of the car. There was no limping. Her gait is fine. There was nothing to do. But what I did notice is that when she got tired, it showed in her body, and I didn't know how to fix it. It was horrible. So how could I enter her into the sport safely again? Normally, if you, like, for example, in the lockdown now, if we're one of those, especially a hardcore handler and trainer, you normally just carry on where you left off with your dog. Or if you do start again, you start again a little bit, you take one step back, but then you carry on. And the dogs just do it. They just work for you. They really don't mind anything. They'll work through any little tweak in their body. But I didn't want this for my dog. And so that's what got me on my journey of investing in myself and learning about fitness and conditioning your dog's body for the sport that it does. And if I can say, it's very, very similar to if you have got a sport dog and you're working in a sport of agility, flyball, lure coursing, all of those sports. It is the same as if your dog is a national sports player. So in South Africa, we're talking about a Springbok rugby team. And so a Springbok rugby player's training is very different to a schoolboy's rugby training. And that was a big thing with my dog and its sport. I can't just go and train her like a Springbok rugby player again if she was injured. Similarly, my husband, he tore a calf muscle at the beginning of the year. And it took a long time to heal, a long time. And the doctor said he will need to go for rehab because it's got some scar tissue and there will be a weakness. And so any rehab or anything that he goes for on that leg, he has to watch. And sure enough, what happened, it was just 2 weeks ago, one of the dogs ran out the back and went through. As he was turning a corner, the dog was in front of him, and he had to quick step. But he felt that tweak in his calf almost 6 months later. And he's perfectly functional. He goes for 5 kilometers walks, takes the dogs for a walk and anything, but that wrong turn caused that pain to reoccur. Not to say that he tore the calf muscle again, but there was a tweak. And that's what I want other handlers to help them avoid with their dogs. If your dog is in a sport, there are niggles, there are going to be injuries, but how can you avoid it from becoming this big issue with the dog? You don't want other dogs, like in IGP, all the dogs that do IGP and probably PSA, they're very similar. Your dog is out there, you're looking for power in your dog. This is what they do. And if they're not doing any of those things, that big, powerful exercise, the first thing that happens is, because your dog's always done it, is that they say, oh, the dog's a bit lazy today. But is he? And then he's a bit better the next time, but maybe he's had 2 days rest before you go training again. And then if you train 2 days in a row, oh, he's lazy. So be very, very careful of just calling your dog lazy. Make sure it's not a physical thing that your dog is still trying to do for you, but he's just tipping the jump. He's just not coming out of the wiggle sticks as well as what he used to. Maybe he just needs a bit of a rest, or maybe there's something that you are not picking up. And that's why I went in to learn about these things. And let me tell you, so yeah, I went to go learn about it. I've got my certification. I went further and got another certification, and I'm still learning. It's an ongoing process, but I love it. I completely love it. And that's what I'm trying to share and teach the people in my membership. We do live webinars. We discuss one another's dogs. We show how to look for certain areas that your dog may be telltailing signs of what may be wrong, or where there is a small niggle that you could have a look at. So many times it's a start of an injury and not just that the dog is not working for you. And then of course there's when we were taking the dog to the vet, there's those vet bills, there's the extra x-rays, there's the specialist vet bills. And the vet bills were not small. They were something else. But of course you will pay for those things because this is your life with your dog. You don't want to skimp on those things for your dog. But it did not get me to know how to start training for my dog again. It got me to know that my dog was injured, but it didn't tell me what I must do afterwards and how do I start with an injured dog again. Where do I go from here? That was the big drawback for me with regards to this, and this is what got me into my fitness and conditioning and why I so love it. If you're watching, guys, just say hello so that I know it's you here. You can type in the comments, I'll see it. So, but that's what we're doing. So you're most welcome to come and see what I offer. I offer, first of all, I'm not a vet. I'm not here to say, oh yes, we can do this and get your dog's body fixed. I work with dogs that are healthy. I want to prevent the injury from occurring. I want you to be able to see it before it happens so that you know what to do. I want you to be able to train your dog to make those areas strong for your sport so that your dog's body can excel in the sport that it does. So for example, your rugby player or your American football player, their sports and training is very, very different to a tennis player. Similarly here with various dog sports. You need to know what areas are danger areas for your dog and how to get them going. Oh my word, this going live is still showing. So this is what we are all about, to get your dog fit and conditioned for the sport that the dog does. So I consider myself a prehab specialist, not a rehab specialist. We try and get you going for and knowing what's going on so that you don't have to get to rehab. But if your dog has been in rehab and now your rehab is done, your dog is now functional again And I've seen this too, where the dog is functional, it's living a normal life, but you can't just slip back into training for your sport. Your sports training and a functional life is two different things. And I've seen it happen where dogs gone for rehab and then they continue with the sport and they get injured. And then they've got to go for rehab and further physio and aftercare. They do that course. The dog is now functional and everything's working fine. And they start their sport training and the dog gets injured. You need to know how to take your rehab exercises and blend them into your sport, and then to increase the exercise so that your dog's area that was injured now becomes a stronger area, and it's not like my husband's calf, that continued weak area, so that if you're just stepping wrong, you're going to injure it again. That's the big danger. So if you want to learn a little bit more, please go visit our website. It is called the biokineticcanine.com. And for a limited period, for June only, we're offering a founder member launch. We will not be doing this price again, but it is a founders member, so you guys are building up the membership with me, and here we will discuss your dog. So I give you all the information, but you get the opportunity to come back to me and say, Angela, am I doing this right with my dog? This is the sports that we're doing. Because how you work your dog is just as important as working your dog. You can be doing lots of exercises and sit stays and all of those things, but if you're doing them incorrectly and you don't have the guidance of a professional, what repetitive exercise are you doing with your dog? Is it repetitively correct in form and structure? Or is it repetitively just slightly off and causing a weakness? This is what we want to prevent from happening. So if you are implementing an exercise protocol and you don't have the guidance of an educated professional, that could cost you a lot of money, because you are creating things and the dog's going to be working for you, and suddenly, out of the blue, as soon as you put the pressure on in the training, that injury is going to come to the foreground. And that's what we want to prevent in the first place. So I hope you have sort of understood what I went through. And my biggest wish is that you never have to go through that either. If you want to learn anything more, like I said, go to my website. We have got programs where I work with you only one-on-one and your dog. Or we have got our membership. We will all come together and we discuss the dogs and how to prevent injuries and what to look for, etc. But we will be doing things, if it's a program, we do training with you and your dog only for the sport that you do. All right, so when's the best time to start? Well, yesterday, of course. Okay, so you're most welcome to contact me via email at fit@the-biokinetic-canine, or have a look at my webpage, or direct message me if you've got any questions. The link to our membership, I'll put in the comments, and it's also found on our website. Have an awesome weekend and a very good Friday. I will probably see you next week. In our free group, we are doing a 5-day challenge starting on Monday. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to be posting videos and discussing our dogs, doing various things. So if you want to join our group, but please remember, in order to join the group, there's 3 questions that need to be answered before you are accepted into the group. Please do that. That's very important. Okay, super. Have a very good afternoon and have a very good weekend. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.